the half of this Victory Tour opener against Ireland. Fittingly enough, we are in Pasadena, California, where 20 years ago, Brandi Chastain sunk the game-winning penalty in a shootout at the World Cup final here at the Rose Bowl. 40 million people in the United States watched that match. A historic day for sure, and we are thrilled to be joined here on the set by two of the participants in that match. You saw Kate Markgraf earlier in the broadcast. Mia Hamm, thanks so much for coming down and spending a little bit of time with us. I wonder, when you see that statue of Brandi there, does it kind of immediately flood back memories of that moment, and what are those?
They need to put some clothes on that girl. and in the background, they did an amazing job capturing Julie's ankles. People don't understand how amazing those ankles are.
In what way?
They are just petite. Like, I am surprised she had that long of a career.
I hope Julie's not listening to us here at halftime. Maybe she's taking a quick break. Look, let's transition. We have talked so much about the 1999 team in the build-up to this, but specifically the 2019 team. What's their legacy to you?
You know, this was a totally different experience at the World Cup for me. Having two daughters that are 12, and to see this tournament through their eyes and their friends' eyes was life-changing, not just for them, but for me, and how they truly believe anything is possible. And that is the legacy of this team. They've taken what we were able to accomplish and raised the bar even higher. And you see the comments and the opportunities are so much greater than they were when we played. And that's their legacy, is so many more doors are open, and it's because of these players.
The cutest thing I saw after they won, and we talk about the inspiration and seeing the game differently through your daughter's eyes, was seeing a picture of Rose Lavelle at the age of 9 who had to dress up like her role model. And she dressed up as you. And I took a picture of it from Twitter and I sent it to you. I texted you to be like, have you seen this? Have you had a discussion with Rose about that photo?
I haven't, but obviously, I mean, to now see my daughters talk about, I want to be like Rose Lavelle, that's what life is supposed to be about. You occupy a space and you try to, and that's what these players have done. And I'm grateful that Rose thought of me that way. And then she probably saw me and she's like, that's it.
Holy mackerel! There it comes, a celebratory spray from the field here at the Rose Bowl.
And humility.
We can use that to transition to some kind of news of the week out of FIFA, that they will expand the Women's World Cup to 32 teams for 2023. What do you think?
I think it's fantastic. I think they're young girls in different areas of the world right now who don't even know that in 8 years, 12 years from now, they're going to get to represent their country in a World Cup. And that's what it does. It's inspiring the next generation, but it's creating more and more opportunities, not just on the field of play, but in education, in occupational opportunities. And so I applaud FIFA for doing that.
You know, such a big part, I think, of what's in the future for this team specifically, and maybe women's football in the United States, is the National Women's Soccer League. We've seen an incredible response in the weeks since. What do you think?
Listen, this league has gotten better and better every single year. I'm looking forward to hopefully expanding it. I know it's something we want here in Los Angeles. I get questions every single day.
That's where Sebi is leading. He's nicely leading you there, I think.
And you know, people want it. The game is growing, and I think it's our responsibility to kind of match that.
Why do you think the NWSL is so important to the future of the national team?
I think because these players need to see another step for them. And then for them to be able to maintain the level that they have on the national team. Because our national team grows and gets better, not just here in the U.S., but all across the world, if we deepen our pool and we raise the level of that pool. And the only way you do that...
Coverage of US soccer is brought to you by Volkswagen. Adrian Healy, alongside someone who's just delighted to be back here at the Rose Bowl, Julie Foudy, loving every minute of it as we get underway at the start of this second half. 3-0 The US opening up their victory tour in fine fettle. And a few switches to tell you about at the start of the second half. Let's start at the back, Julie, where Ashlyn Harris has come on to replace Alyssa Nair. Emily Sonnet is also on in place of Kelly O'Hara, and Jessica McDonald is going to be in for Tobin Heath. Just one change for the Irish as well. Rihanna Jarrett replacing Amber Barrett up front.
And although I'm sure Jill would like about 500 substitutions, she's only allowed 6, as they are for friendlies. 3 of them have been used.
It's going to be great to see Jessica McDonald out there. What a story she was to make her first World Cup at the age of 31. Another on the team as well.
It was fun to see her success over the years and her climb that ladder and continue to fight to be on the national team. And there she was, holding that World Cup trophy.
Yep. We had Mia Hamm on our desk and Kate Margraf talking about the NWSL, and Jessica McDonald has really used the NWSL so beautifully to elevate her career.
I only heard them talking about my nice ankles. I have no idea what you're talking about. Was there something about that?
They definitely mentioned her ankles.
She's the best.
Yeah.
I started to get kind of teary when she was talking about the impact on our kids, because that was such a moment for all of us. There were so many of us over there in France. Mia and her kids. I had both of my kids, Izzy, who's 12, Declan's 10. And the impact it doesn't just have on your daughters, but your sons as well.
McCabe's corner. Early take of the ball for Ashlyn Harris. It's already more work for her than Alyssa Nair had in the first half. Ashlyn Harris, his most recent appearance was here in LA against Belgium before the World Cup. Jessamine McDonald forcing her way into the penalty area. It's a great run. And a 9th cap. She scored a goal in that Belgium game back in April. Also scored against Portugal. Unwavering perseverance. The story of her journey. Press set the table to really good service from the corner. So the US quite latch on. It's a long chase back, isn't it? Crystal Dunn. McDonald to win the corner. Heather Payne. To get the tackle in. Here's Heather Payne. She will be playing collegiately at Florida State in just a couple of months' time.
Mark Krikorian, the master of wooing the international player.
Yeah. He's made a habit of luring Irish players as well. The third to play for the Seminoles.
Megan Campbell, Megan Connolly.
Flick header at the near post. Zoe Gabbage.
Both still playing, Megan Connolly and Megan Campbell for Ireland. Megan Connolly was a late drop, sadly, with an injury. Megan Campbell playing over in Man City, so they are missing a few key players, Ireland, as they gear up for their European qualifiers.
So desperate to be a part of Euro 21, which is being played right on the doorstep in England. fascinating, Julie, to see over the last, particularly 5 or 6 years, the rising tide of European women's soccer.
Yeah.
It's one of the players the crowd are hoping to see tonight, Rose Lavelle.
I said, Rose, how are your hamstrings feeling when I spoke to her yesterday? Fine.
Yeah.
It's always like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm good. They've been great. I thought they would be a little tighter, but they're not. I've been great.
What a star she was in France.
Yeah, and it's the exact player that the U.S. needed, given their struggles to break down that compact defense of Sweden in 2016. I mean, that was the big lesson that Jill Ellis took from the Olympic disappointment.
Jessica McDonald's cross and Kristen Press with the header, couldn't put it on target. Kristen Press, who plays for the Utah Royals, the NWSL. Jessica McDonald, we talked about her journey. He plays with the North Carolina Courage, and the upcoming NWSL schedule all on ESPN News. Portland and North Carolina, how about that for a top-of-the-table tilt? On August the 11th, that'll be another massive crowd, I would think, in the Rose City. They had 23,000 there for the Thorns in their first game post-World Cup.
Yeah, and we know how great that crowd is in Portland all the time, but just see the bounce from other cities as well.
Yeah, Julie Ertz on the ball now, talking to us in glowing terms about the 17,000 she played in front of for the Chicago Red Stars. It's a sellout back on July the 22nd. The Utah Royals have had a nearly 16,000 crowd as well. Orlando smashing their previous best. Even the Washington Spirit with a sellout, a much smaller stadium. So it's been league-wide, the knock-on effect of these 23 women did in France. Now then, Sam Mewis, the great approach work.
You can see exactly what the idea is, just didn't quite execute it. She sees there's that little window on the far post. If I could just bend it in there. It just doesn't curl. But she takes that peek. And Crystal Dunn always finding those little seams. Sam Mewis just trying to wrap it around.
Another who plays for the North Carolina Courage, Sam Mewis. Has always been such a dominant force in the center of midfield, dating back to her youth club soccer days in Massachusetts. Twin sister Christine, who was a good player as well at youth level and collegiately. And you talked about her World Cup, Julie. 6 goals she scored in 2019. Third best on the team.
And that was another great talking point from the World Cup, is just how many different players, the production, 9 different players in the World Cup. They, of course, have to brag about that midfield again. Scoring so many from midfield as well.
Yep. Well, only one team has shared the wealth around more than that, 9 different goal scorers, and that was your team in '99, Julie.
Really?
When you had 10.
I did not know that, Adrian.
Well, you didn't know you played here in 2002.
That's true. I don't know much anymore. Twice here in 2002.
Is preparing another switch momentarily. Going to see Ali Krieger for much longer. Before that, corner for Kristen Press. Drives it in towards the near post. It was the halftime substitute Jarrett who got it away, and then the follow-up shot is skewed well wide, and now Ali Krieger can make her entrance, and it is going to be Carly Lloyd who departs. And she waited a long time to play her first game at the Rose Bowl. And Ali Lloyd certainly made the most of it. She's just getting the message now that her number is up. She shows no signs of slowing down, does she? She hands over the armband, gets the congratulations from Jill Ellis. And she makes way for another veteran in Ali Krieger. Sebastian Salazar is still with us. He has something on Ali. What do you got, Sally?
Yeah, guys, Krieger, huge part of the 2011-2015 World Cup teams. But after the Tournament of Nations in 2017, she went over a year with basically radio silence from the national team staff. Effectively, she's left out of the team. She was still playing well, NWSL Best 11 2017. I spoke with Ali just before they left for the World Cup, and she actually credited her NWSL teammate down with the Orlando Pride, a World Cup winner herself, Sydney Leroux, with keeping Krieger positive during what she described as a very difficult time. Leroux kept telling her, I know you're going to get called up. I know you're going to get called up. And Sydney was right. Krieger was in between preseason two-a-days with the Pride earlier this year when she finally got called back into the team. Guys, she ends up playing in a third World Cup. And on top of that, she played some significant minutes in France as well.
Yeah. It's a long time to go without a call-up, Julie.
Right. I mean, and Jill took a ton of criticism for that because she was rotating again through those outside backs. Sam Mewis checking her nose. And we'll get back to the Ali Krieger story.
Yeah, Harriet Scott has picked up a booking. Actually, I think it was Niamh Fahey for this. Yeah, it was Niamh Fahey who clattered into Sam Mewis. He was trying to stem the tide of blood. It's taking some doing. She's really taken a blow from Fahey.
And back to Ali Krieger, I do think Jill waited too long to bring her back in. But here's where, again, I give Jill a ton of credit. In that World Cup final, and actually picking her roster, she picks Ali Krieger with not much time back with the team because she brought her in so late. Yeah. But she brings her because she knows she has that experience. And so Ali Krieger's able to jump into that final game in the second half. Imagine that. The score was still 0-0, I think, as she comes in. And Jill has that on her bench as part of her arsenal because I think there would have been a lot of coaches who said, I'm not going to bring her after I've waited this long, maybe made a mistake on that. And she brought her and was able to use her and helped the U.S. team with her experience in her third World Cup, as Sebi pointed out, win a World Cup.
Press's free kick is glanced behind for yet another U.S. corner. Krieger certainly been well travelled, isn't she? 5 years playing professionally in Germany, also a year in Sweden. Over 100 caps now. Emily Sonnet, her first touch of the ball. I think Sam Mewis is going to be able to continue. As Kristen Press sends in an open header and an invitation. Haran couldn't put her aerial attempt on target, and indeed Ali Long is going to come on for Sam Mewis. Ali Long, another who battled through adversity to make her first World Cup. Sonnet. Switch to Krieger. Good looking cross. It was causes some confusion at the back for the Irish. Another service in towards the far post. Jess McDonald to getting something on it. 4 stars on the jersey continue to probe for number 4 here. Crystal Dawn. Great looking ball from Crystal Dawn. Just a little bit of hesitation from Ali Long. Well, there's going to be some reception here. It is the Rose Bowl, after all.
It's a good one. I got it.
Well, the revelation, I think it's fair to call her that, Julie, of the World Cup for the US. We are sure that's Rose Lavelle, not Katie Elwood, right?
So much fun to watch her excel at that World Cup, and her first World Cup, as we were talking about earlier. And to show what she can be and why Jill Ellis stayed with her through her injuries in 17 and 18. I mean, she was out almost a full year, Rose Lavelle, where a lot of people were like, why isn't she playing again? And she was another setback and another setback, and Jill Ellis knew, and this is a player for the future, and you stay with players like that. And boy, did it pay off.
Yeah, she was telling us yesterday how this exact victory tour back in 2015 was her first taste of what it really took to compete at this level. She didn't get on to play in any of those games, but she was brought in by Jill Ellis to play in the training for those games. Individual honours, Megan Rapinoe, of course, with the golden ball and golden boot, Alex Morgan with the silver boot, and Rose Lavelle.
You think she could have predicted that 4 years ago in those victory tour games? Yeah, I'm going to walk away with the bronze.
And there's the gold and silver. Neither of them can play a part tonight. We were in Cincinnati for an MLS game a couple of weeks ago, Julie, and Rose Lavelle was the queen of the Queen City. She was center of attention. Massive gathering in Fountain Square in the center of the city with the mayor leading all the ceremonies. And here she is, Lavelle, on her way. Just a little too strong for Crystal Dawn. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, we'll have the 97th annual FA Community Shield. It's always the curtain raiser to the English domestic season. The Premier League champions, the FA Cup winners, Man City and Liverpool. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. You can download the app or go to ESPNplus.com. Watch the game anywhere. Now, if you get ESPN Plus, you can also see studio show ESPN FC every single day. Can you believe it's that time of year already, Julie? Community Shield time? That can't be right.
I know. Can't stop, won't stop.
No,
this soccer.
It never stops.
No, not anymore.
We love it. How about the NWSL, talking of league seasons? Portland, North Carolina, Chicago. The rain, the top 4 at the moment.
Washington trying to get into that top 4.
Big games coming up. We're delighted to broadcast.
So excited when we have them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rest of the season right through to the playoffs and the final as well.
In our family.
There's Rose Lavelle. Plays with the Washington Spirit. Has the crowd on their feet here. Her goal against the Netherlands will live a long, long time in the US soccer collective memory. Lavelle and teeing it up. Becky Sauber.
Wouldn't that be something to see Becky Sauerbrunn getting in on the action?
She's never scored yet in 164 appearances for the US. This is never too late to start.
She's like the Kate Sobrero Markgraf. We'd be like, go take that penalty kick.
Didn't she score on her final appearance, Kate? It was a penalty.
Yeah,
I think it was against
She would
Ireland.
always be like, no, go take it.
I believe it was against Ireland too. I might be wrong about that. We'll have to confirm with Kate if she remembers. 12 previous meetings, by the way, between the US and Ireland, and the US won all 12. Most recently at the start of 2016.
We started talking about just the dominance of Europe and the rise of Europe. I mean, and this is a team that has never qualified for a major tournament. It's hard to get out of Europe. But back in April of 2017, their players actually went on strike against their federation and said, look, it needs to be better. We need to be paid better. They were sharing tracksuits where they literally had to take them off in the airport before they were done with the tournament.
They're down tools, didn't they? They refused to train for a day or two until the Irish FA actually sorted things out, which they did.
I mean, we talk a lot about the pay equity issue happening right now with this current team, and yet all over the world you see it in pockets and in different countries where players are standing up and saying, no, this isn't right. And you see the federations who are supporting their programs for just a little bit of investment. The return has been huge. When you see the response in Spain, and England, and France, Italy, the global numbers, the audience, they reached over 1 billion viewers.
Well, Megan Rapinoe said it best. Julie, we just saw her. She said everyone's ready for this conversation to move on to the next step. What does that involve for you, Julie?
Well, it's going to involve more money, that's for sure. I mean, I think the Federation knows that publicly they're on the wrong side of that, but they also, it's such a hard conversation to have in terms of the pay structure, because they're two different types of pay structures where the men don't get the guaranteed salaries that the women do. And I think actually what you could see going forward is the women go to a salary structure similar to the men, where you get paid only if you come in, you get a game bonus, and if you win, you get an additional bonus on that. And I think that's where U.S. Soccer could make a big stride if the women do decide to go to that pay structure, is pay them all the same, right? But then the big nugget that everyone doesn't know how to address is that FIFA money, because there's a big difference in how much FIFA pays U.S. Soccer for the men's success versus the women. And how a court would rule on that, I honestly do not know.
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it, in this few days in LA, but some of the players involved, they've teamed up with the Time's Up movement. Some leading actresses, Natalie Portman, Erica Ferreira, Brie Larson, fighting for pay equity in all workplaces.
Yeah, and 19 players showed up. And they did breakout sessions about how they could actually organize, not just for themselves, but for others, for their industry, for other, teams, and obviously various industries involved in this. But these players, they realize they're setting a standard, not just for sports, but for other women out there, and they take that responsibility seriously.
This is actually some photos that were taken. This was a brainstorming session just down the road in West Hollywood. Mentioned the Time's Up movement. The actresses involved.
It's been it's been so fun to see that relationship develop, where Jennifer Gardner and Natalie Portman, who's here tonight, and Eva Longoria and Brie Larson, as you mentioned, there were so many. Uzo Abudo, there were so many at that game in LA, and they've continued that relationship. That game in LA in April.
Victorious on the field. Very much fighting for equity off it. fascinating to see how US soccer responds. Of course, President Carlos Codera released that letter this week.
I will say it was amazing to watch in France when the U.S. players put that flag in the ground 3 months ahead of the World Cup and said, we're going to file a lawsuit against our employer going into the World Cup 3 months ahead of time. I remember talking to Mia and saying, I'm not sure we would have done this right before '99. We wouldn't have the courage to bring on that type of distraction, but this team knew it was bigger than that. And they said it over and over. Yes, winning a World Cup is so important to us, but there's a bigger picture to this. And their ability, given whatever the conversation was circling around them that was meant to be a distraction, whether it was the president tweeting about Megan Rapinoe or it was equal pay or whatever it was, their ability to stay focused on the task at hand was tremendous to watch and see live. No wonder Rose Lavelle was saying she was exhausted after the World Cup to lock in with all of that noise around you.
Yep.
Every single one of them was like, ooh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't blame you. That was a lot.
Really still feeling the effects. Some of them are quite vocal about that. 4 weeks on. McDonald to Emily Sonnet. So we'll be following the developments in the fight for equity very closely. We'll also be following what happens next on two fronts in the coaching department. What do you think Jill Ellis does next, Julie? I know she's got another 4.5 games to go, and she's going to clearly take some time away from the game. But
I hope she gets a large beverage and goes find an island. She said, I took Lily, her daughter, who's, oh my gosh, I can't believe Lily's going to be a freshman in high school. She said, Lily and I went on a 3-day trip to Turks and Caicos. And right before coming in here, and she said it was so great. So I think that will be the first priority is, precious time with the family that she just hasn't had.
With the pressure off.
But there's also the technical position open up for the youth side. And I mean, no one knows the layers of U.S. soccer as much as Jill Ellis does. She has been at the youth level. She's been an assistant coach. I mean, she could come in and start talking about, all right, how do we not just ensure that we're in every final, but that we're winning every final?
Do you think she really hasn't given it much thought? What comes next?
Nah, she's given it thought. Yeah.
But let me ask you this. She did her pro license, her USSF pro coaching license. She was the first woman to complete that license. She was doing it alongside some MLS alums, the likes of Jesse Marsh and Caleb Porter, Greg Vanny, Josh Wolf. They all did that course together. She clearly wants to carry on coaching eventually. Just what? Because it's a hard act to follow up, isn't it, being a US national team coach? You think of Tom Samani and Pia Sundhage and Greg Ryan and April Heinrichs, so what they've done post being a national team coach, it's hard to find that next step, isn't it?
It's going to be hard to find that next coach, too.
Well, that's the other part of the equation.
That's the second part I knew you were getting to, Adrian. I was waiting for that.
Not just what Jill does next, but what do the U.S. do next?
Well, we were talking about it pregame. I mean, it's a tight turnaround with this coach. Probably first you got to hire a general manager. Of course, our colleague Kate Markgraf is
in the running.
In the running,
it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think she would be fabulous.
She would be fantastic. And if you're listening, US Soccer,
I've already started.
No-brainer.
I've already started my list for her in case she does, get it. But the other thing is, you're talking about. Really, these games run through October, these 5 victory tour games, which Jill said she has done. And then they have a couple pair of friendlies in November. I don't know if I'm allowed to announce that. But that's really when they start that shift. And so you're talking about a 10-month frame where you've got to get the team ready for the Olympics. And so I think the idea of it almost being two different jobs. So you have one that's a short-term cycle where you bring someone very familiar like Tony Gustafsson, who's the assistant coach, who's so well respected, has been with Joe this whole time and is very involved tactically in what they do and is in the huddle, talking to them all the time and well-loved. Could he, I've never talked to Tony about this, but someone like that, or Steve Swanson, could they take that short-term position and then you bring in a new voice?
Crystal Dunn's cross, meanwhile. Is that a handball? Some questions being asked. Whoever it is, Julie, will face a situation not unfamiliar with this team, and it's how do you transition?
Yeah, because I don't think that's the long-term answer either, because I do believe you need a new voice. You need a new way. You need someone that brings different types of training techniques and drills and all of that. But I do think it's a good short-term answer.
Always moving on from one generation to the next is a tricky part of any coach's remit. Julie, 11 players in their 30s at the moment in the current squad. There's one of them, Ali Krieger. And all the while you make that transition, you have to keep winning. I mean, you're expected to win every game. As the coach of the US.
Yeah, right. It's true.
It's a tough balancing act. The UNT pre-game, the desk with Sebastian, we're talking about the timeline, and they have to be fairly speedy about this, don't they? With the Olympic qualifying starting
absolutely.
quite soon. Give and go involving Crystal Dunn on the far side. Gargan looking it clear. But still just quite able to add to their 3-goal first half tally here. Which defence have held out. Stand whoever it is, Julie. A lot of criticism. Jill Ellis talked about it the first half, was fabulous at doing that. Some of the accusations he had thrown her way, oh, she's too cautious, oh, she's too adventurous.
Experimenting too much, not experimenting enough. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good development, right? There were days, and I remember when we would be like, yes, thank you for criticizing this team. It actually means you care, you're paying attention, when we didn't get both sides of it. So I mean, she said when asked what her advice would be to the next coach is, buckle up. It's a roller coaster, right? It's those highs and lows, but make it your own, which I think is great advice.
Rose Lavelle doing it her way, just like her coach. ESPN's coverage is brought to you by Volkswagen, presenting sponsor of US Soccer. Drive something bigger than yourself. Five-game victory tour kicking off tonight. Where so much kicked off 20 years ago. Sonnet. Fired for Rose Lavelle. Now then, while we have a moment, laughter permitted with Julie Fallon.
Oh, here we go.
I'll tell you what it says. A fun, thoughtful, candid conversation with trailblazers in sports about the joy and chaos of life and sports. Laughter and donuts permitted.
Right. That's my new podcast, Adrian.
Season 1 available now.
Season 1 is out.
Listen on Apple or Spotify. I can tell you, our group here had a first-hand encounter with your love of donuts last night.
I bring them to every podcast taping. It's mandatory. You have to pound donuts.
And it leads to laughter.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
we have a lot of laughter. We had Mia on, and I always laugh hard with Mia Hamm, but Mia Hamm tells this story about a FIFA meeting she attended in Geneva. She sits on a FIFA council, and she's about, to go into this meeting with Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, and she suddenly realizes she has her seam in the back of her pants is splitting, right? Her bum area. Oh my God. She tells the story that I get giggling every time still. I think I've heard it about 10 times and I still start crying. I laugh so hard. But yeah, we got to talk to some great female athletes, and I think it's important that we share their stories and let others know how they are not just awesome athletes, but amazing human beings. It's been so much fun.
Great lesson.
Crystal Dunn, who now has moved to the front line. She moved earlier in the half, but that's the versatility of a player like this. Right? She can play all 3 lines. She could play in the middle.
Well, she's another that had to shake off the disappointment of missing out in 2015.
Oh, last player cut. And then, Crystal Dunn in every World Cup game. This is a player that was a forward transition to an outside back. She's matched up against, Diani from France, the speed of Diani. And then she had England. She had Lucy Bronze coming down that side. She had Nikita Paris coming down that side. She had some great players that she had to match up against and did so well.
What was it she said about 2015? She missed a World Cup, but she gained a husband because she watched all the games in a bar.
Right, with her husband.
With her husband to be Pierre. He's actually French.
Right. Talk about coming full circle, right?
Yeah. For an interesting World Cup. For the former Herman Trophy winner.
We might have a podcast on Crystal Dunn. Adrian, thank you.
Nice. Very nice. Croissants instead of donuts. Crystal Dunn's.
I don't have another chocolate croissant in my life.
You can never get too many.
I ate more than my weight in pastries over in France.
Yeah, it's easily done. Chanting "We want 4" here. The Rose Bowl. Rose Lavelle trying to some inroads into the penalty area. This Irish defence have shown their mettle, haven't they, in this second half? I think it was perhaps their forte before kickoff. The defence will have learned
I like that.
A lot of lessons.
I like that Katie McCabe, number 11 for Ireland, who's been on this right side. On our side, you can see the promise she has.
Yep.
Plays for Arsenal, good on the ball, confident on the ball, taking players on, speed.
You mentioned FIFA just a couple of minutes ago, Julie, and they have made the decision to expand the Women's World Cup to 32 teams in 2023. Can you imagine a nation like Ireland may be one of the beneficiaries of that decision?
Yeah, exactly. And that, I think it's a great thing, because what it does is it forces these federations who aren't typically funding their women's team to try and qualify, and it gives them another opportunity to get into a big tournament, which means they invest, they spend. And it's that many more federations that now hopefully are triggered with this catalyst of more teams being allowed in to invest in their women's team.
It's going to be quite a remarkable expansion rate, isn't it, when you consider still only 16 teams in Germany in 2011, so it will have doubled in 12 years by the time 23 rolls around. Of course, we don't know where World Cup 2023 is going to be played.
And that irks me, honestly. You knew 8 years out from Russia.
Yes.
We knew 12 years out for Qatar. And we're going to learn almost just over 3 years out.
Yeah, not till next March. Australia seemed to be the clear front runners.
Right. But this could be interesting, because with more teams, obviously, you need more facilities and infrastructure, and Australia still is that clear front runner, but does it mean more added to the mix? Right now they're talking about 9 different countries expressing interest.
Yeah. But you're right, it does seem remarkably late in the process. Announcing the winner as Jess McDonald goes up to meet the cross from Crystal Dunn. More MLS soccer coming away tomorrow, a Sunday afternoon encounter from the Western Conference, Portland, and their trip to Allianz Field to take on rising force that is Minnesota United. 4 Eastern, 3 Central on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the app as well. And ESPN Plus is your place for our daily show as well, ESPN FC. Well, they're not going to see Megan Rapinoe or Alex Morgan tonight. They were deep in conversation on the bench.
Very locked in on this one. It's so fun though when you, even though you're so tired, to come back and see all your teammates and get back together. I mean, there's such comfort and familiarity with just being around this group, and especially as I was saying earlier, just how much fun they seem to have this summer and how much they enjoy each other. You can see it with all they do.
Exuberance. Everything they do on the pitch.
I remember playing in the WUSA and pretty much losing every game, and then being like, I just gotta get back with the national team and we win. And where my comfort level is.
Right.
And the joy of being like, yes, I'm back with my girls.
Jess McDonald, back with the North Carolina Courage, before on top American scorer in the NWSL. What a thrill it must have been for her son Jeremiah, who's 7, to be with her in France.
I think they captured it on video the day he arrived in France and he went running into her arms. It was adorable.
One last switch for Ireland. Another debutante for them as Claire Walsh comes on to replace Louise Quinn. It's 4 of these Irish women who've made a debut here tonight. Julie, something to be able to say you made your first appearance at the Rose Bowl as that cross almost floated in at the far post. There was a touch. Sally Krieger's teasing delivery that Hurahan backpedaling. One more for the US. It's a great floated ball from Abby Dahlkemper. Still not able to add the exclamation point to the evening. We'll be on to Portugal next. That'll be the next opponent. A couple of games against them. Another rising nation in European women's soccer, Portuguese.
Another one who will be getting ready for European qualifiers.
Yep. Those games are at the end of the month and early September. A lot of NWSL action for all these players in intervening weeks. It does feel like an inflection point, doesn't it? Again, in the big picture for the NWSL, as the final whistle sounds here. Well, they couldn't add to their first half tally. The 3 goals for Jill Ellis's team in the first half were enough. Hardy handshakes between her and Tom O'Connor. The victory tour starts as we might have expected it to start, with a victory and a comfortable one,
Right.
Julie.
And they'll be pleased it was a shutout as well. And as hard as these games are with the turnaround and the emotion of coming off the high of the World Cup, I mean, the joy you get out of playing in front of your fans and being able to thank them as they did, and especially in such an iconic place like the Rose Bowl, I know the players were thrilled to have this opportunity tonight.
First time in 17 years for the US women's national team to be back in Pasadena after being back-to-back world champions. The crowd leaving with smiles on their faces. The US leaving with a 3-0 win. Let's go down to Sebastian Salazar and Kate Margraf.
All right, thank you very much, Adrian. 3-0 then the final score as the United States beats Ireland in this first of 5 victory tour matches to celebrate the 2019 Women's World Cup title. Kate and Seb here with you on the desk, field side at the Rose Bowl. I guess we could analyze the game, but let's save that for a little bit. There were so many kind of great moments tonight, Kate. Is there one that stands out to you?
I think it's just seeing the number of players that scored and were trying to get involved. That eagerness, you always wonder how exhausted they are and how that impacts one's motivation. But you didn't see that. You see Horan making 40-yard runs from the midfield to try to get in the box. Carly Lloyd, you never have to question her motivation or her work ethic. And just the number of players that got in. So, Sebi, I'm not answering your question. I didn't give you one, I gave you many.
Well, what about just the visual of the 4 stars above the crest? Having been a part of one of those stars, now seeing it in front of these fans, what does that mean to you?
You know, I'm not really like the emotional type of person, or at least I'm not going to show it to you. And that was probably one of the few times I've ever gotten choked up on this side of the field, where you see that and it's knowing that you were a part of it, but then seeing that someone else took it and made it bigger, and then in 15, and then they made it even bigger in 19. And seeing that annual step up and that progression is what anyone wants.
There were so many kind of loud ovations during this match, but it wasn't just for like Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe. It was for Kristen Press, who came off the bench at the World Cup. It was for Ali Krieger, who came off the bench at the World Cup. It was for that young lady, Rose Lavelle, who certainly starred at the World Cup. That says 2 things to me, Kate. One, that this is truly a team, right? There are a lot of stars on this team. And second, that the fans of this team know it very well. I wonder if in 1999 they would have had so many big ovations for so many players, even players that weren't in that starting lineup.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I was in the starting lineup, but you would never notice me except for I had red, white, and blue hair.
That'll make you stand out.
Yeah, but that wasn't the way I did it. I lost a bet. But what I'm getting to, the difference is now there's an accessibility due to social media. And because of social media, the personalities have been allowed to shine where people can now witness it. And there's so much playfulness, especially amongst that younger group. I mean, it is hilarious to follow them on Twitter. I saw a Twitter feed where people are following them on Venmo, and they're posting images of what they're saying and reimbursing one another. So, I mean, it's stuff like that that allows people to meet their heroes or see their idols in different lights. And if you add more dimensions, you add to the fandom.
Let's get some perspective from those up in the booth, Adrian Healy and Julie Foudy. Guys, so many great moments tonight. I wonder what stood out to you.
You've got to start with the smile on this woman's face right from the word go. Julie, you've just been lapping this up, and there weren't even
so
any donuts involved.
I know. It's so fun to be able to get this moment where you've done all the work, you've put in the sweat and the tears, and these players have talked about this journey as being a hard one, right? Whether it's injury or Ali Krieger's story where she was, she didn't hear from the coach for a full year. But everyone has their stories. So to be in this moment where you can come and just celebrate it with your fans is so fun to watch. And Mia talked about it, I thought, perfectly at halftime when she said, the impact you see now as a mom and with your kids coming full circle and how they respond to the players. I mean, I did the post-game celebration party in France with this team, and I had an hour before we had to do our next Sports Center hit, and so my kids literally grabbed me. They were like, "Mom, we need pictures, we need autographs, we want to see this person," and to see the impact on them is so fun. You feel almost maternal that this program has not just inspired this next generation, but they've done it in such a way that I think is so courageous.
And it's been such a whirlwind 4 weeks for these players. I mean, 4 weeks tomorrow is when the World Cup final took place, and everything they've been through since that point, Julie, to come here tonight with some tired minds,
tired
legs and limbs, and still be able to put on a show for these fans was fantastic to see. And we talked about the exuberance that they just carry with them on the pitch, and more of that tonight, Julie.
Well, I will tell you the one thing I was hoping for tonight, and I hope she has her headset on by now. I thought Becky Sauerbrunn was going to get that first goal when she launched it from the top of the box.
She gave it a really good
I was
go.
on the edge of my seat. Becky, come on.
Well done. Thanks, guys. Of course, Becky Sauerbrunn joining us here on the set. Walk us through what was happening, because we were all thinking, here it is, Becky's first goal.
I was like, time to slow down a little bit, and I was just thinking, just get a piece of it. And I thought I hit it really well, and I just obviously didn't. It went wide. So.
No, I'm going to give you credit. I do think you hit it well, just maybe not on target. But you know, that's a good starting step towards, because I know what that's like. Defenders don't get enough love for the credit they do on the defensive side.
I know.
And everyone's always worried about the goals. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, because that's not your job.
It's not my job. My job is to make sure the ball doesn't go into my goal. And so tonight we succeeded in that as a back line.
Kate was telling us this, I think at halftime or maybe pregame. This is a brutal game if you're a center back, because like everybody wants to get the goal. Did you sense that tonight?
Oh, I think on this team, everybody always wants to get the goal. So, yeah, I don't think this night was any different from any other game.
I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the 37,000 fans who are here today. They really brought the noise, such an atmosphere. What does that mean to you to be home in front of them?
Oh, I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, this is such a historic place. It has such memories for the U.S. Women's National Team. And so to be able to play here, so many people out here supporting us. I mean, this is just what you want to play for, and we're just so thankful and wanted to celebrate with everyone that supported us in France. And so this was a great night.
What was the feeling like watching the 5 stars, or the 4 stars, excuse me.
Don't get ahead of ourselves.
I'm getting excited for 2023 already. Now, what was it like to see the 4 stars getting rolled up and knowing that you've had such a big part, and knowing that you've had 164 caps? It seems you've been around. I was leaving, you were coming.
Yeah.
You've had over a decade.
Yeah. I mean, it's always such an honor to be able to wear this uniform and just, I mean, to be a part of 2 World Cups and 2 stars. I mean, every time we're gonna look at that jersey, you're gonna know that like you had a part in that, and so it's just an honor, and that's all I can really say.
Becky, I know it's kind of a cliche question, but we're seeing your teammates right now taking the field and waving to the fans. What makes this group special?
Sorry, say that again?
What makes this group so special?
Oh, I wish I knew. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's resiliency. It's a mentality that you just can't teach. It just is innate in all these players. And it's just a pursuit of excellence and a discontent with not being where we're at. We always want to push the level. We always want to get better and better, and we always want to be the best. And so we bring that every single day to everything we do. And that's a hard thing. I think that's grinding, but these girls every single day are willing to put in that work. And so I think that's what makes us special.
Now, this is a little bit off topic, but the meme I've seen a ton is with you in the finals, blood dripping down your face, and it's like, this is what it's like when you tell me it's Monday. You know, people add like whatever, I'm just coming up with stuff off the cuff, but have you seen the memes, or have you even recognized that? Has anyone ever commented on it?
I mean, I've seen it around social media, and it was such like a weird moment to happen in a World Cup final, but like I'm always going to have the scar now, and I can have a really cool story about how it happened, and if people want to have fun with it, please go ahead.
You mentioned the significance of 1999 and this game being here. Do you remember that game, and what are your memories of it, and how did it inspire you?
Oh my gosh, do I remember this? Yes, I was in St. Louis in my living room watching with my dad. He was in his rocking chair. I was on the floor just like head in hand, just like enthralled with what was happening. And then when Lil cleared the ball off the line, and then with Brandi Chastain scoring the goal, like that was the moment for me. I needed to know what it felt like for those women on the field, them celebrating and how happy they were. And that was the turning point for me, where I was like, I need to know what that feels like. And so that's when it for me was, I'm putting everything into this team, into making this team, into being on this team, into helping this team win a star. And luckily I've been a part of 2 of those.
What's it like to go around the country playing in these Victory Tour games and sharing the way that you play in front of all of these fans?
I mean, we want to celebrate with the fans. We want to celebrate, you know, with all the people on the team and all our staff. And it's just, we had such amazing support in France. Every single game that we went to, whether it was the people watching at home or the people actually in the stadiums, like we felt that. And so we really just want to go around and just say thank you so much for what you brought to this team, like the energy and the love and the support, and like we feel it. And so thank you so much, and we just want to celebrate.
This is the first of 5 Victory Tour matches. It goes in the books as a 3-0 win over Ireland. There you see the rest of the remaining schedule, a couple matches against Portugal and a couple matches against South Korea. Becky, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking time away from your teammates and this awesome celebration to come share with us. I got to be honest, I got goosebumps listening to you talk about 99. Very, very cool. So thank you for the time. We'll be back from the Rose Bowl in just a few minutes with some final thoughts as the U.S. kicks off this Victory Tour with a 3-0 win.
Anthony's Furniture in Bakersfield is introducing their online store, Anthony'sFurnitureHomeDecor.com. Now you can shop for furniture and decor from the comfort of your home. We offer a variety of living room sets, dinette sets, bedroom sets, kids furniture, mattresses, and so much more. Great quality at great prices. Ship free in the Bakersfield area. Experience a better way to shop for furniture at Anthony'sFurnitureHomeDecor.com.
He knew after the first date. You knew after the second. Wedding bells rang, babies walked, life moved at top speed. You've dedicated your life to protecting your family and their future, but you didn't plan for it to go by so fast. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, but there has never been a better time than right now to plan for it. Look to Young Wooldridge to help protect your family and future generations with the right estate plan. Young Wooldridge, protecting people just like you since 1939.
Attention Kern County, the three-way Chevrolet Summer Sell-Down is happening now. Every pre-owned car, truck, and SUV on our lot has been priced to move fast, like this 2017 Chevy Equinox for $16,298, and this 2018 Chevy Malibu for $17,998, or this 2015 Traverse for only $21,999. What are you waiting for? It's the Summer Sell-Down at Three-Way Chevrolet. Shop online at threewaychevrolet.com or come see us in the Bakersfield Auto Mall.
So when we started Touch of Modern, we took a lot more curated approach and focused on things that had a story to tell. So being a digitally native brand with television, we were able to track it and measure it just as precisely as we could on the digital side. People remember our brand more than they did before.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
When does an opportunity become a golden opportunity? When a forward-thinking safety system and peace of mind meet exceptional offers. Don't miss your golden opportunity to experience our most advanced safety technology now at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event.
Lease the 2019 ES350 for $379 a month for 36 months and we'll make your first month's payment.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
I need new struts for my 2010 Chevy. Let me see struts by AC Delco, KYB, and any under $50.
We might be able to get some struts from the warehouse.
Why watch the counterman tap on his computer and hope he chooses the right part? Go to rockauto.com. Auto and body parts from hundreds of manufacturers. Choose the brands, prices, and features you want. Auto parts at the lowest price. Conveniently delivered to your home or business.
All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
Baby, you see, I cannot set you free. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me. And I'm right for you. I love the things you do. Like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's
you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
The World Cup champion U.S. Women's National Team kicks off their victory tour with a 3-0 win over Ireland. For Adrian Healy, Julie Foudy, Kate Markgraf, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Sebastian Salazar. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, the final score from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. The United States 3, Ireland 0.